All right. Welcome back to another episode. The Broest Bros, you knows. This is our 40th episode of BBYK. I mean, I can't believe we've made it this far.
You know, honestly, I thought we were just gonna, get out while the getting was good, but here we still are, just chugging away.
We're back because of the fans. You know, all of our fans out there. This is for you. It's because of you, and it's for you. It's a labor of love.
Your thirst for knowledge.
Guys, we are your BFF of the internet. Please check us out, broestbros.com, for latest updates on our podcast and our blogs. I am your host, Viet, and I'm joined by David BC Bridges. I had to shorten it. What's up, Dave?
What's up, man?
And Matt Two Stripe Alexander. What's up, Matt?
Not much. How y'all doing?
Doing all right, bro. I'm going to talk a little bit MMA. We got some interesting fights this weekend. UFC Fight Night 88. Should be a good one.
Yes.
Just going to go through some of the headlines the previous week. Big news. Not surprising news, but big news. Weidman pulled out from another injury. This is his 75th injury.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, he's a what was it, vertebrae issue or
something like that. Yeah.
Seems kind of serious.
Herniated disc.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that does not sound good.
Yeah, I heard he was like trying to push through it in training camp. He's like, no, I'll just take some painkillers. And like,
It's fine, man. That's what Advil's for.
I remember like listening to someone talk about like when they were breaking the story, and I was like, it's almost like MMA is a dangerous sport or something with all these injuries.
There you go, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, and then just cross your fingers. Luke Rockhold is gonna make it. The replacement fight, Michael Bisping. I didn't have a problem with this. How'd you guys feel about the pick?
Honestly, I mean, he won't really give Rockhold much of a challenge, I don't think. But Bisping deserves the title shot. He's been a good soldier for several years. Fans love him. It'll still sell the fight. I actually like the replacement pick.
yeah, I really like that he's getting the chance finally. There's nobody. I mean, he is up there. And no Jafferate. Yoel Romero's suspended, and Chris is out. So I think it's a pretty good choice. It may not be like the best fight, but it's good to see him finally get a title shot. And it is actually really sad seeing their trash talk. I'm like, well, I can't tell if they're like really hate each other or they're just trying to sell this fight, but it's like, this is actually kind of sad. Y'all are not very good at this. And I kind of feel like they're trying to play up this rivalry between them to sell the card.
See, I didn't see. I saw like Bisping doing that. I think Luke, at this point, I think he just thinks he's that much better. I mean, there's no reason for him not to believe that, but I think he just thinks he's that much better than the rest of the division. I mean, Weidman was a great champion, and people were like, yeah, that guy's one of the best fighters on the planet. And Rockhold went in there and made it seem like he was just on a completely different level. So, but yeah, Bisping sells fights. It almost seems kind of ceremonial. Mm-hmm. Like, if he retires, like, after this, it's almost kind of like he beat Anderson Silva, the legend Anderson Silva. He always looked up to him, and then he got to finally get his title shot. He got into the... I mean, he didn't get into mixed martial arts, but he was introduced to UFC 10 years ago through Ultimate Fighter. So, kind of a feel-good story. I agree with you guys. I like the pick. I don't think it's going to be a particularly great fight. But Tim Kennedy... I tweeted this out at Tim Kennedy, but he's another guy out there, and for whatever reason, well, mainly because he's outspoken, he hasn't been getting booked. That dude is a GI bro, a true American hero. Tim Kennedy, we want to see you fight again. At the very least, why don't you come on the show and chat with us, Tim? We're all big fans of yours. So this is me saying you're one of the Broest Bros we know. Come and chat with us. Tell us what's happening. Why is everyone ducking you? Moving on, BJ Penn is not going to fight. Yeah, got busted by USADA using an IV.
It really sucks to get busted by the doping agency because of an IV. and not actually doping.
See, I thought you were gonna kind of put him on blast a bit. Like, you're a fighter, you should know the
know
rule.
better.
And I sort of, so that's kind of like the no duh. Like, yeah, they should. But I also, my one thing is that I think slowly this is gonna phase out. Like, this is a good thing, because I think the legacy fighters, the ones that used to fight in an era where like you could just go to the locker room and get stuff injected, and that was just part of the culture. That entire thing is starting to get cleaned up and phased out. So, I mean, BJ Penn getting busted for IVs, it's not the end of the world. There are rumors that IVs could sometimes be used to mask stuff.
Yeah, because you can change the...
But I'm not going to, if there's no more evidence than that, I'm not going to accuse him of anything. I think the one thing people can all agree on, BJ Penn never looked like he took anything.
No.
You know? Like, if that when that guy goes out and he's like, I've always been natural my entire career, most people are like, no one's arguing with you.
Bro, his hot dog to testosterone to estrogen levels are off the charts.
It's all that ham and pineapple.
Yeah, and for somebody like him, you can actually kind of understand that, because like he's never been suspected before, and now after this long layoff, it's like he's also a lot older, and his last few fights he got the crap kicked out of him. So it's like I can also see why he would potentially want to be juicing to get ready for this fight so he doesn't get killed.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of people are like totally hating on USADA or like saying that it's like terrible for the sport. I'm like, it's at least partially good. Like, I don't know enough about it and about the method and the science. Like, some guys are questioning like what, like, you know, sometimes like for what Machida got busted for, and other stuff. It's like, why are they cracking down on these guys and not the serious stuff? I don't know if they're like, if that can be used like for loopholes for other guys to like hide stuff. But I'm pretty much okay with it.
We're gonna get to UFC 198. Before we get to that, I'm gonna call some of these Twitter peeps. You guys are blowing me up, going like, "Bro, told you I knew Stipe would win." I mean, that's fine, guys, and you shouldn't be mad unless like someone told you to like bet a certain way. And I said if you were gonna bet, you should bet on Stipe. So it's not like you lost money, but I mean,
If you're gonna bet, you should follow me, because I was 5-0, guys.
yeah, listen to Matt. That guy can predict fights, but like, I'm with Luke Thomas on this. We're less about predicting fights. It's so hard. There's so many things that can happen in MMA. It's more about we're trying to break stuff down and look at fights, kind of analyze it. Example is Silva Sonnen 1, and you had a few analysts out there that were saying, you know, Sonnen might be able to like use this wrestling and grind this guy out. Well, that's exactly what happened. I mean, the fact that 98% of the people said that Silva was going to win and he ended up winning, I think it's kind of irrelevant. I thought that...
Yeah, exactly. Sonnen fucking dominated that fight until the last, like, minute. He got caught.
But Stipe did win. He won in dramatic fashion. Man, what a cool champion. That guy has he's I mean, if he didn't win you over before, he's such a good guy, Stipe.
Yeah.
Really cool dude. He's a good champion. He's a good champion.
Very well received in Cleveland, like, across all sports, too. Like, he's a superstar now.
Yeah.
Well, he's Cleveland's first champion in how long?
All right. I'm sure no one listening to this has heard this, but there's been some rumor about a Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather match. This has heard this, but there's been some rumor about a Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather. Some going so far as to say that it has been confirmed.
What?
And it'll be announced. What was it? Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
He said that he had multiple sauces. Probably Chris Broussard.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things. Like, I feel like when ESPN's breaking news for the UFC, I take that with a grain of salt, unless Dana White's on SportsCenter.
Their sources are each other.
Yeah.
He probably was like, "Hey, Stephen A. Smith, what do you think about Conor and Floyd?" Oh, it has to happen. Wait, it's gonna happen? Yeah, it has to happen. All right, I have a source that says that. It's gonna happen? Yeah, it has to happen. All right, I have a source that says that. that wraps up our news recap.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Would you watch Conor? Oh, of course you guys would watch Conor and Floyd.
What kind of question is that?
I'm asking our fans.
Oh.
You know, sound off in the comments below. What do you think about these Conor?
I mean, I wouldn't pay for it. I'd go to a bar and see it. It's already on. I'd be like, oh.
It's kind of like paying for it. Tell us what you think. Would you like to see McGregor go against Floyd? Does it make any sense? It's kind of weird, I think, that ESPN like keeps bringing this up. Like it's, oh yeah, this can totally happen. Like it's just a matter of, like, when Pacquiao and Floyd didn't happen, it was because they couldn't agree. Both sides couldn't agree. Even if Conor wants this to happen, the UFC has to agree to it. UFC has never agreed to something like this. Their contracts are ironclad. I mean, the fact that we're talking about this like, oh, it's just about Conor agreeing or Floyd agreeing, it's kind of about as stupid as saying like, oh, is Steph Curry going to play for the Oklahoma City Thunder in the next game because he wants to? I mean, if he agrees with it and the Thunder players agree, no, like the management have to trade him. It had to be within like deadline. There are rules that like regulate these kind of things. It's not just about the two fighters like talking about it, but I don't know. Conor.
It would have been better. It would have been better had he won this last fight. Still had his undefeated UFC streak. Because
yeah, but he's still McGregor though.
Unless they get a huge cut of money.
He's still McGregor though. I think he was like the one fighter that could take a loss like that and still be a star.
Right.
I think Conor's kind of trying to like get his name out there, maybe sort of playing a game with the UFC to show how much drawing power he has. I think the UFC is using it as leverage against Nate to get him to sign the contract with Conor, and I think Floyd has no reason to deny it because he keeps his name out there. You notice every single time they bring it up, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll fight Conor, but here, let me promote all this other stuff for the next like 45 minutes." There's also rumors he wants to bring John Jones onto the money team. So
really?
Yeah, so he does want to kind of cross over to MMA.
That'd be interesting.
So yeah, I think it's a rumor that benefits all parties, except for Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some fight talks. First fight we're gonna talk about Fight Pass prelim fight. Wow, it's a Fight Pass prelim fight, guys. I don't know if it'll end up being one of the best fights, but it's definitely one of the more meaningful fights. You got Aljamain Sterling against Bryan Caraway. All right, I'm gonna let David. I know you're a big fan of Aljamain Sterling, and I'm not gonna let you break down yourself, so that's not fair. So I'm gonna let you talk about Aljamain Sterling real quick.
All right. Well, first of all, the first thing I'd like to say about this fight is we got some great nicknames fighting each other in this one. I mean, we have the Funk Master versus Kid Lightning.
He hasn't changed his name to David Bridges. He can't be Brian DB Caraway.
And yeah, it's crazy. This is a Fight Pass prelim fight. I mean, you have two top 10 guys. Aljamain Sterling is actually ranked number 4 officially in the UFC rankings. Undefeated. Sterling is one of those guys where he's good everywhere. I mean, he has several submission victories, he has several knockout victories, and his speed and quickness, I think, allow him to really capitalize on his opponent's mistakes. If you open yourself up, he'll sneak in that choke before you realize it. He'll hit you before you realize it. That being said, Caraway is a tough test. I mean, Caraway is no joke on the ground. So I think in this one, Sterling will want to keep it on his feet. On the feet, Sterling clearly outclasses Caraway. I don't think Caraway will have any kind of answer for him when they're throwing leather. But on the ground, Sterling might have some problems down there against Caraway. So I think in this one, if Sterling keeps it standing, I think he can cruise to a decision victory.
I agree and I disagree with you. I agree that Sterling will cruise to a victory. I disagree that he wants to keep it standing, though. I mean, this guy is 2-time All-American NCAA wrestler. He has how many submission victories at this point? I mean, this guy just controls people once he takes people to the ground. 7 or 8
submission victories.
Just excellent grappling. The
6 submission victories.
Dude trained with John Jones at Morrisville State. The guy is just really, really elite on the ground. He's also good standing up. The thing about Aljamain Sterling, he's still very young, and he's still very young in terms of mixed martial arts. We've yet to see him. We were talking about Corey Anderson, where he hasn't had a signature victory. I think Aljamain Sterling has had a few victories that have shown us that he's definitely super talented.
Right.
What we haven't seen yet is him being able to take all the parts of his games and put it together. He can sort of dominate you in one area, and then it goes to a different area. Then he can kind of dominate you there. He hasn't really put it all together yet, and when he does, man, he's going to be special. Matt, you got anything to add about Bryan Caraway? This is your boy. You always bring him up.
He's got to don't eat too many cupcakes. Get it? For the fight, because you want to make weight.
Funny guy. Come on, man. You got something for us?
Cupcakes? I also think Sterling is going to cruise to victory, and I also agree with Viet that he's not going to shy away from taking him down and getting him ground and pound. I could see him getting in trouble on the ground, possibly, in a jiu-jitsu match, but I think he's going to dominate it, but Caraway's going to do enough to, defend himself and hit back. So I'm going to go 29-28 across the board.
This guy.
So specific.
So specific. We got to get you on the site. You guys need to check it out. I'm going to pump it again, broestbros.com. David has been doing fight predictions. Matt's going to start doing them now, too, because he's got a perfect record.
Really specific predictions, because why not?
Yeah,
call me Brostradamus, y'all.
Brostradamus.
All right, moving on.
Jessica I, bro.
Do you want to talk about Jessica I?
No, I don't know what to say, but I think Jessica I is going to pull out a decision. Who's a better weight match than Bryan Caraway? Which women do you want to talk about, Jessica or Bryan?
Jessica I, Sarah McMahon. That's definitely like a Styles makes fights kind of thing.
Right.
McMahon, wrestler, I, striker. It'll be interesting. I think as an Olympic level wrestler, you would think that she would be able to take I to the ground and to just sort of
You would assume.
grind out a victory. Yeah.
Do they give bonuses for most boring fight of the night?
That would be funny.
Land price of the night?
Yeah. It's funny because the UFC keeps giving those bonuses to the Bellator main events. All right, the next fight that interests me, we're going to talk about Renan Barao versus Jeremy Stephens. Matt, I'm going to let you talk about Renan Barao real quick. This is his first fight moving up to featherweight. He used to fight at 135, and he just said that a lot was being taken out of his body, making that cut. It was really hard on him.
Right.
So this is his first fight at 145. Be interesting to see a more healthy, hydrated Renan Barao, what he could look like. Matt, what are your thoughts on Renan Barao?
He's a boss, man. And Novo Meow. So hopefully he's taken some advice from his teammate Aldo and learned how to not run into someone's fist with his face. That'd be good. But yeah, man, he's really good. And I don't know what to say. He's really good. He's gonna win. I don't know how he's gonna win. Wait, yes I do, because I make crazy fight predictions. He's gonna win by a third round submission with a rolling knee bar. Okay, maybe not by a rolling knee bar, but he's gonna win third round by submission.
It's gonna piss me off if that happens too. You're just like the golden child at this point. All right, David, you want to tell us a little bit about Jeremy Stephens?
So Stephens is actually, he's a very fun fighter to watch. He's definitely not at the same level as Barao as far as skill-wise. But the guy has some very flashy knockouts under his belt in his UFC career. And, he definitely packs some power. He's a dangerous fighter. If Barao runs into something, he's out. That being said, I do think Barao is the better fighter. Although it will be interesting to see how Barao fights, up 10 pounds. And then also, we really haven't seen Barao since his Dillashaw loss, and his fight in between the Dillashaw fights, wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm just wondering, like, where his head is. Like, is he mentally there or not? Because if he's not fully in this fight, Stevens is going to take his head off with a spinning heel kick or something. Like, he definitely has that potential.
Wait, so are you predicting?
No, I think Barao's going to win, but there's a definite path to victory for Stevens here.
Viet, what are your thoughts?
I'm just interested in seeing what Barao looks like. MMA is such a what have you done for me lately world, and it sucks. Unlike other sports where, man, you looked really bad this game, but there's another one tomorrow night.
Right.
Like in baseball, if a guy has one off night, no one even cares. In fights, I mean, you get judged by your last fight. TJ Dillashaw is a very special fighter, so that should be noted. Another thing that should be noted, before he lost to TJ Dillashaw in their first fight, people were starting to talk about him like one of the top pound-for-pound guys. Yeah. Like, he was on that short list of Demetrius Mighty Mouse and John Jones. He looked really impressive against Faber.
He hadn't lost in the UFC before then.
Yeah, he had like 30-something wins in a row.
Looking at his fight record, he lost his first professional fight, did not lose until he lost to TJ Dillashaw. 30 on his 34th fight.
Yeah.
That is a shit. That's ridiculous. I mean, some of those are like smaller things. But he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
32 victories in a row.
Yeah, beat Uriah Faber twice. Beat Brad Pickett.
Beat Michael McDonald. I mean,
I'm predicting in that next big Brazil card they put on down there, it's gonna be Aldo versus Barao. How would that be?
That would be fun.
How would that be?
I would love that.
Somebody's gonna pull out though, because they are teammates, and probably somebody's gonna fucking pop for BBD. It's like, oh no, sorry bro, I spilled my piss.
It's the Brazilian water, I swear.
Yeah, it's that Gatorade, the purple Gatorade. All right, guys, man. If nothing else, if the rest of the card were trash, we'd still be tuning in for this one fight. This is the fight. This is the kind of fight that hardcore fans salivate for. You got two young blue chip prospects that are just on the cusp of being the next big thing. And they're going against each other. Expect fireworks. It's going to be awesome. It's the kind of fight where the hardcore fans are really looking forward to it. And I think this is the kind of fight where if you're a casual fan and you tune in, it might just convert you.
Yeah.
Let's just get right into it. I want to know who you guys think will win. David, Garbrandt, or Almeida?
I'm going Garbrandt here. The dude's been boxing since he was in high school. He wrestled in high school. So yeah, he has a nice, American base when it comes to fighting. Boxer wrestler, excuse me. His hands, I mean, standing up, the guy is legit. Fast hands, and he throws them with bad intent. I mean, if you move forward on him, he'll catch you, and you're out. I mean, he's one of those guys in that division who actually has one-punch knockout power. And Almeida, I mean, he has a little of that Muay Thai background, but I'm wondering if Garbrandt's wrestling might negate some of his kicks. Probably not. But I think Garbrandt here, there were definitely points in the fight where Almeida's in trouble and points in the fight where Garbrandt's in trouble. Just because of the way these two guys fight, they'll get in a firefight there and just stand in the pocket and start swinging at each other. But I think Garbrandt pulls this one out.
All right, Matt, I'm gonna throw it to you. Garbrandt, Almeida, who do you got?
Almeida, third minute of the second round. Garbrandt comes in with a lead-in jab and an overhand right. Almeida steps to the side, right hand counter, flying knee, punches, ref stops it. That's my very accurate prediction. It's great because they're both really awesome, aggressive fighters, and both have that counter ability too.
And while Cody has that great wrestling and boxing, of the big four that you think of for MMA, Almeida's got good to very good jiu-jitsu, and he's got amazing Muay Thai. So I think I don't think Cody's gonna be able to stop him in Muay Thai with his wrestling. I think depending on how Cody's clinch game is will determine how well he can stop it. Because Almeida's very good at the dirty boxing, or maybe not like wrestling, but he's very good at just throwing hands, and he's also good at he's got a chin. He can
does.
He's shown that over his past few UFC fights, where he's facing like better and better competition. It's not just cab drivers, which, you know, as a glorified cab driver myself, I take offense to that, Mr. Garbrandt. But yeah, he's got amazing striking skill. He doesn't have the one-hit knockout power that Cody does, but he has very good TKO power and throwing big shots all the time, very high motor. So I see him actually, the way I see it playing out is I see Cody winning the first, and towards the end of the first probably putting him in a pretty bad position, probably hurting him. And then in the second one, Almeida counters him and then takes the victory that way. But, you know, either way, I could also see Cody definitely one-shot knockout, or take him down and ground and pound and soften him up for later rounds and then get the victory later. But I'm going with Almeida.
So it's kind of funny. I just realized Almeida's last 3 fights in UFC, he won Performance of the Night bonuses. His fight before those last 3, he won Fight of the Night. So tune in, people.
Yeah, definitely.
Brad Pickett was so boss.
Oh yeah, that was a great fight.
He was hurt. He actually got knocked down. He got dropped at least once.
By Pickett?
Yeah, and like the way I saw it, I thought he was it was close, but I thought that he was losing that fight for the TKO.
These are just two really, really good fighters. I'm going to start with Garbrandt, and then you guys feel free to jump in whenever you have anything to add. This guy, he's one of the Team Alpha Male guys. 32-1 amateur boxing record. His boxing is his bread and butter. If you can paint this fight in broad strokes, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Verdun Miocic. You have a boxer wrestler who clearly has the athleticism on his side. And then on the other side, you have the versatile striker with the jiu-jitsu edge. But when you look at the way these guys fight, it's not similar. But they have some skill sets that kind of remind me of that. When you said that Garbrandt strikes with ill intent, you were dead on. This guy has really, really crisp strikes, and everything is fundamentally to him is boxing. So it's not about just blocking or trying to weather a storm. He's trying to make you miss. And then he's going to try to rip you with a counter. He's very smooth when he evades. I will note, the guy's a very linear fighter. He'll come at you straight on when he attacks. He'll back up, straight back. So that could maybe present some problems when Almeida starts pouring it on. The thing that really impresses me with Garbrandt is he seems to come at you in controlled flurries. He lands, he slips, he'll fire off that hook, slip, fire off that hook again. Everything is just with crazy amount of power. I mean, you look at this guy, just amazing hip control. And he doesn't mind mixing things up. Yeah, boxing is his bread and butter, but you'll see him throwing some knees, some kicks. The guy's got a little flash in this game. I've seen him throw cartwheel kicks in the middle of a fight before. He's a fun fighter, and the thing is, sometimes it looks like he's a little bit out of control, but I don't see it like that. I think it's all, like I said, controlled flurries, controlled aggression. He likes to kind of go at you with these flurries and then sort of draw out these punches. And then when he counters, he really gets off that center line, just puts everything into it. And then he comes back with another power shot. You see guys, they like to go quick, then power. So it's like you throw the jab and then boom, you smash someone. This guy will slip, smash you, come back and smash you again. You see him, it's almost like he's in a comic book. You see him twist all the way around, punching a guy, and then twist all the way back. It's incredible, just the amount of torque he puts into his punches. And it could look like it's overcommitment. It looks like he sort of compensates for that just by being so incredibly athletic. But I don't know if maybe there's some timing issues there. And if he does overcommit on some strikes, that may also present some problems with Almeida, who is a phenomenal striker. We'll get to him in a second. When it comes to his grappling game, this guy has shades of Team Alpha Male all over him. It's all about that power wrestling, your power singles, your power doubles, and once he takes you down, it is ground and pound city. The thing I will say, we haven't seen him gone against too many elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys that can really make him pay on the ground with his aggression. So it'd be interesting once it gets there if Almeida can maybe give him some trouble there using his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The trouble I see with Garbrandt is this is for both fighters. I'll get to this when I talk about Almeida in a bit, but he's not necessarily a defensive fighter. I was going to make this comparison, but Almeida and Garbrandt are kind of like the James Harden of MMA. It's not to say they don't play any defense. It's just that they're so phenomenal offensively, and they like to really, really go after you. His attacks aren't very varied. He really likes to stick with that boxing. I did say he likes to throw in some flash, but he hasn't really used that and incorporated it well. It's kind of more like he'll go in with a flurry and then sort of off the cuff throw a cartwheel kick. Never really lands these flashy kicks.
It's more flash for the sake of flash.
Yeah.
Just from watching it, that's what it looks like.
And I would like to see him use that flash for the sake of setting something up. Maybe do that, get a guy to step back, and then go in with your flurry instead of going with your flurry, and then as the guy's backing off, throwing something crazy. He's a very straight line fighter, but he does a really good job of incorporating this pull counter. So you start fighting them, you really follow him on that straight line, and boom, he can just crack you with that shot. And his punches just have a lot of power in them. He's got a lot of just natural athleticism on his side. And actually, I'm just gonna throw this question out there real quick, and then we'll get into Almeida. And we see this with maybe some of the Team Alpha Male guys, but I just think in general, these dudes that have just insane athleticism, do you think sort of hurts them as mixed martial artists, at least early on? They don't develop certain skills because they're sort of depending on the fact that they can get out of the way or get out of trouble just by being bigger, faster, stronger?
I definitely there's something to that. I mean, if you're a young fighter and you're fighting guys who aren't as good, aren't as athletic as you are, you can make mistakes and not pay for it just based on your athleticism. So you don't learn to not do things, or you don't learn how to get out of certain situations as from a technical standpoint, just because you can do it just physically.
Any thoughts on that, Matt?
I agree. One of the issues that I see with it, and I think this is going to be really interesting because obviously these are two really great prospects. They're young, and I think they're going to face each other again in the future, probably for the belt. One of the issues is like mental maturity. I don't want to like tear anybody down, but it's like Cody Garbrandt, like he's gotten in fights with
it's Garbrandt, bro.
Garbrandt, sorry, my pronunciation's not good. He got pissed off at McGregor on Tough over TJ Dillashaw, but then when TJ Dillashaw left and was saying, now he's like throwing TJ Dillashaw under the bus, and he's getting really emotional, and he's like talking a lot of trash about Almeida. He's like, oh, this guy sucks. If he really thought he were confident, he would say, knock me out in the first round, not in the second round. And you're like, or he's just like respects you and he actually knows his game really well. Whereas Almeida's the guy that's like, I know I'm going to lose. Like, I'm going to get caught, or somebody's just going to be better than me and beat me someday. So, like, I think Almeida has a mental edge. And also, Almeida's been hurt more in fights, especially in the UFC, and is not as athletic. He's had to face a little more adversity early on in his career. So I think at this point, Almeida has a mental edge, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch both of them grow as fighters in anticipation of this fight and the next fight that they have, because I think these are going to be the two of the top guys in the bantamweight division for a while.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Matt. And I was gonna bring that up a little bit later when I talked about Almeida, but the guy has gone through some adversity. Garbrandt, for the most part, has kind of really torn through a lot of the guys.
Yeah, like his fights haven't been close.
And his one loss was like a very uninspiring loss.
What, Garbrandt?
I don't know what I'm talking about. They're both undefeated fighters.
He has 2 amateur losses, but he's never lost as a pro.
But I do think Almeida does have a certain advantage because he has been put in tough situations before. When Garbrandt lands something on him and hurts him in this fight, and there's a really good chance that that's going to happen at some point, Almeida may be better equipped to deal with that situation than Cody is when he gets clipped by something from Almeida. Talking about Almeida so much, let's get right to him. Shoe Boxing Academy, BJJ brown belt, really excellent Muay Thai, 21-0 record. They're both undefeated fighters. Happy guys, they're both undefeated fighters. This guy has some superb slip and rip. He is more fluid and graceful of a fighter than Garbrandt. This guy punches for accuracy, for speed, not necessarily always for power. And he mixes it up really well. Goes head, body, gets into the clinch, throws his knees. Everything is about moving forward. This guy could sit back, use his kicks to really create distance and sort of pick you apart, but he really likes to move forward, get you in that clinch, and then just rain on you. And he does this with just a very versatile arsenal. Not so much a bomber as a guy that really wants to sort of chop you down methodically and intelligently. We'll say he's not as explosive a fighter as Garbrandt. But that doesn't mean that he's not an athletic guy. It's just athleticism is a very relative term. Almeida's a very athletic dude. Garbrandt's just one of those special kind of athletes. They're both young fighters. I think the same age. They're both 24. Almeida just seems to be so much further along in this game, and this is why I brought up that point about maybe Garbrandt kind of depending on that athleticism so much in his fights and not really developing some of the others like requisite skills. Almeida's only 24. It seems like his striking package is complete. There's really nothing this kid can't do. So Garbrandt, we said that sometimes he kind of throws a little flash, a little style over substance, but hasn't really mixed it in. Almeida, he doesn't really throw in that style over substance. His style is in the substance. I mean, I'm just going to give you a little example real quick, but like you'll see him, he really likes to throw these flying knees. But he doesn't just, it's not just like straight up like clinch game flying knees, moving forward flying knees. I mean, we see this guy go to the side, pronate, either alternating arm, move the guy's head back for a behind the head flying knee. I mean, it's just sick. It's ridiculous the different ways this guy can attack you. There's no telegraph either. Everything is really, really crisp. The one thing that's different, Garbrandt really likes to attack in combinations, and you'll see Almeida kind of pick single shots. Not really pot shots. They're all setting stuff up, but you'll see him kind of shift a bit. He likes to, he can fight from both orthodox. He can also like shift, southpaw, throwing some stuff. We'll see him throw a right cross, shift southpaw, fire off a hook, and then move back. And then really use his grappling not only to throw in those knees, but also to manipulate his opponent, move him where he wants to be so that he's at the end of his next punch. Boom, cracks you, moves the guy back, steps the other way, cracks you on the other side. I mean, just incredible when it comes to strikes. The one thing that I do see that will give him some trouble, this guy is all about moving forward. I said that this guy could like stay back, use his kicks, create that distance, and play a safer fight. That's just not his style. Everything is about moving forward, getting into that clinch range, and really reigning. He's going to have the reach advantage on Cody. You would think that Cody's the guy that wants to close the distance, but that's just the way Almeida fights. If Almeida gets in close, and we've seen this happen, you guys brought this up just a little while ago with Brad Pickett. When he gets in close, he can get caught. You get caught by a guy like Cody Garbrandt, and he will make you absolutely pay. Not only can Garbrandt just flat out attack this guy in flurries and maybe catch him, Garbrandt is a very good counter striker himself. If Almeida goes in and he's not careful, Garbrandt can end up cracking him, use that counter game against them. So I brought up how both fighters have a little bit of that James Harden in them. They're not known for their incredible defense. Not bad. Almeida's defense isn't bad. But just his style of fighting, because he does go in close, he does sometimes ask for trouble, he can get caught. I think someone brought this up. It may have been the Heavy Hands podcast. They talked about Almeida before. They said that he has a little bit of that Carlos Condit tendency of sort of going out there and throwing everything in the kitchen sink at the fighter, seeing what works, and then not using stuff when they don't work. Oh, I threw that punch and that guy made me pay for it. Or I threw that kick and then I got caught here. And then you start seeing him whittle things down and then kind of like going from all these crazy different strikes to the strikes that work for this particular fighter. A very intelligent fighter. He'll really start picking you apart. Kind of fights like a one-hitter quitter, but he's not a one-hitter quitter. Cody is, but Cody throws in flurries. Very interesting fight. We're going to get into path to victory. David, I'm going to start with you.
All right.
Your boy's Cody Garbrandt. What does this guy need to do? What is his path to victory against a crazy awesome striker like Almeida?
So, like you said, both these guys are great strikers, both with not as great defense. I think Cody is going to have to use that, use Almeida's aggression against him, and really look for that counter. Keep his head off the center line as much as possible, and when Almeida comes in, tries to get close to the hit, duck under. Throw the overhand, throw the hook, take him to the ground, and ground and pound him for the victory. Almeida's dangerous, but Garbrandt's going to need to use that aggression against his opponent.
I agree with you. I agree with some of what you said for the path to victory. I do think that it's going to be really tough for Garbrandt. He doesn't have as much in the toolbox as Almeida. But he does definitely have that athletic advantage. He's really going to have to use that well, though. Figure out pockets where he can really explode on the guy. He's really good at extending, getting off that center line, and really throwing these crazy overhands. And he is a one-hitter quitter. Almeida has a crazy chin. I mean, I'm not saying that Garbrandt could knock him out, but he should definitely look for that and look for openings, especially when Almeida starts kind of playing on his chin a bit, getting in close. Garbrandt, he loads on those. There's so much power. And when Almeida starts going in, starts trying to employ that clinch game a bit, he can sort of use his boxing and actually incorporate a lot of shifting to kind of disrupt the timing. Matt, I'm gonna let you kind of explain to our listeners real quick. But what does that do when a fighter incorporates a bit of shifting in their boxing? How does that throw off a guy's clinch game?
When you shift to either side, basically, like if you're clinching with somebody, what ends up happening most of the time is you get an over-underhook. You shift to one side. Your boxing is it's not going to be the same. You don't have the launch point is not the same, and trajectory of where your punch is going, and you've got a lot shorter area too. And I think for Garbrandt, actually, I think his wrestling is going to be really important in that area. Again, it's going to be one of the real underrated things of this fight is how he deals with transitioning from his boxing, like his in-close boxing, versus Almeida's Muay Thai. Because Almeida's style for Muay Thai is he's very up in your face, and Almeida's also very good at throwing elbows, and he cuts people a lot, and he can throw them. He can throw basically just from a boxing stance. He can throw lead or back elbows, and he can also do it from the clinch. So in terms of as far as what Cody's doing, especially wanting to clinch, it's not like a boxing match where you can just kind of just dig at somebody's ribs until the ref pulls them apart. It's you want to break the posture, and then also use your own movement to, if you have an overhook, you step back while you're pulling the overhook. You're trying to create a little bit of distance where you can get a nice strike with your overhooked hand, and they can't, your opponent can't.
so they don't have striking power. So it's like because they're just kind of their arm is down and away. So it's like you've got an advantage. It might not be a great advantage, and then in wrestling like doubles or singles or high cross, whatever, out of that, whereas your opponent can't do a lot of stuff. And then in Almeida's skill set is more of like kneeing people out of that, getting a flying knee, or throwing the elbows, or getting out of that, or maybe just getting out of, if he gets taken down, trying to get himself into a position where he can get butterfly hooks and escape, because he's got a pretty good butterfly guard game. So that part is it's underrated because these they're great strikers. You see these guys, you just want to throw hands, bro. But I think that's actually going to be the deciding factor in the fight.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And that's how you use the shift to disrupt the timing. Thanks, Matt. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say about the shift. We see this, I won't say made famous by, but the most famous boxer right now, Triple G, uses the shift a lot. And, these guys, they like to shift stances. We see TJ Dillashaw do this a lot. Dominic Cruz seems to be the king of it at the moment. It really does disrupt some timing. It also opens up some potential danger zones. We saw Dodson clip Dillashaw, handed him. We've also seen some pretty unique ways of incorporating the shift. Like you could just do a drop shift, which is just like a quick change to throw a strike. Probably one of the most creative uses of this, George St. Pierre using his Superman jab. He's going to have to use a little bit of that trickery within his boxing to kind of throw off Almeida just a little bit. He is going to have to shoot for takedowns. He's going to have to use some of that power wrestling. If anything, just you got to, we always say, you have to be able to show that you can do everything. And his wrestling is really good, or at least it's serviceable, and he has to be able to put Almeida in different positions, just make him a little bit more uncomfortable. And the last key to Garbrandt, I think, is when Almeida presses, you kind of instinctively want to jab out to kind of create that distance, and Garbrandt can't do that. He really has to just kind of like focus and not have the temptation to just throw these short shots to kind of get a guy out of the way, because Almeida will walk through a crazy punch. He's going to just eat a jab to keep going at you. So that means when he's moving back, he's going to really have to set up these smash attacks. The guy moves back, and he's going to have to throw that rock back. It's going to be tough. He doesn't really pivot. As I said this before, Garbrandt doesn't really pivot. He really moves back linearly. But when he uses that pull counter, when he moves back and counters, these have to be smashes. They can't just be little pitter-patter jabs that usually kind of create some distance, because Almeida can close distance really quick on you, and he wants to do it. We're going to get to Almeida's path to victory. Matt, you kind of talked about it a little bit already. I'm going to let you kind of expound on it a little bit. Almeida, what is his path to victory? What does this guy have to do to beat an explosive fighter like Garbrandt?
Hold on. Oh, sorry. He has got to win the linear battles, because they're both very linear fighters. Man, he's got to not get knocked out. Because he's like...
Keys to the game.
Don't lose.
Score more points.
Don't lose, bro.
Score more points.
Because, he's one of the things I think about this fight is weird, is that I think whoever loses is probably going to learn more from the fight and get more out of it for their career than the winner. Because both of these guys are extremely good, very aggressive, but have holes in their defense. Especially, I don't think either of them has had a 5-round fight before. And yeah, I think them growing into, I could see like Almeida becoming more defensive, maybe not like Cruz, but getting to a point where he doesn't like getting punched in the face so much, because he kind of just doesn't care right now. He just moves forward. I think he's going to have to use his jiu-jitsu to get the fight back on the feet if he wants to, or, submit him if he can. But to try to neutralize Cody's wrestling, and then win from the clinch and look for counters. I think both fighters need to look for counters because for the aggression levels. And yeah, I don't know. Try not to get taken down. Try not to get hit in the face. That'd be nice. Or the body. Don't get hit in the body either.
Yeah, for Almeida, I'll just kind of add some things. I think he always likes to throw that low inside kick. It's almost automatic. Like if the fight starts, you're gonna have Almeida throw a low inside kick. I think those low kicks can be key if he kind of aggressively goes after him and kind of chop down Garbrandt, kind of take away a little bit of that explosiveness. And also, throw those low kicks, kind of maybe draw out some of Garbrandt's boxing attack, and then see if he can counter that way. Move in close. That's just his game. You know what's really crazy? You don't really see Almeida throw a lot of jabs. He kind of level changes, and then he really kind of likes to go with that 4-2-3 combination. Really dig at the body. That's one of the things I really like about Almeida. He really switches things up, and he'll get at you. And he's not gonna headhunt you. He's gonna throw that power shot at the body, go back up to the top. Really, really versatile striker. And with the ways he can throw kicks, he can really keep Garbrandt at distance and sort of really win this fight that way. So if I wanted a path to victory, he could do that. He's just not going to, because that's not his style. But he's got a vicious front kick, and that can really create some distance for him against Cody, if he needs to. If he needs to kind of like get back, if Cody gets him with a flurry or something like that, he can kind of stay at range. And he's a lot better at pivoting and resetting once he is attacked, unlike Cody. So if Cody does get him or cracks him at some point, he's better equipped to kind of move to the side, really reset, maybe get something off. And also remember, this is a guy, he, like you said, Matt, kind of gets punched in the face a lot. Really does. It seems to really walk through stuff. And the really scary thing about it, I think from an opponent's perspective, is no real loss of power sometimes when he does this, which means you can crack him with something, a beautiful counter, and he kind of shifts forward and still cracks you with his combination anyways. It could be a bit demoralizing. I don't think Garbrandt will break mentally from that, but at some point it might frustrate him. And he might, out of frustration, he might shoot for a takedown. He would have rather...
He would have...
Honestly, what you said about the leg kicks, I honestly see in the first round, that's how I see it going, is Almeida uses the leg kicks to keep the distance, and then Almeida's the aggressor. He gets countered and gets hurt by Cody. And then in the second round, the reason I said that Almeida would win with a counter is because I see Cody getting that frustration out of getting leg kicked, and he becomes the aggressor. And then in the second round, when he thinks he has the advantage, then he gets countered. Broest Bros.
There you go. Like I said, Cody, he can look like a comic book character sometimes, the way he throws the entire body, just throws everything into it. And I was saying that this may be a bit of overcommitment. He never really seems to have to pay for it because he's just so fast. He's smashing the same way someone else would just throw a normal punch. But, if Almeida can time it right, the guy's just really good in the middle of flurries. He's really good at getting this elbow, just like smashing it right down the middle and really disrupting someone's timing. And he could really just hurt somebody like that too. So that's something else he can use. Should be a very, very interesting fight. I think Almeida just has more tools. He's just more of a complete fighter at this point. But Cody can just overwhelm you with just a combination of his power and his athleticism. So I know David called Cody. Matt, you called Almeida. I think I think Almeida's going to have this one, but I'm rooting for Cody because screw you, Matt. I'm just kidding, bro. You keep calling him. What'd you say, flying knee in the second round or something like that?
I'm calling Almeida second round, third minute of the second round by a counter right flying knee and punches TKO.
A counter right flying knee.
Damn.
Man.
All right. If that happens,
if that
I owe you
happens,
something.
we're renaming the show. If that happens, we're renaming the show. We'll call it Two Stripe. That's gonna be our new show. It's gonna be called Two Stripe. All right, guys, and now to your favorite segment of the show, Rattling the Cage. Matt, take it away.
Vitor Belfort's mop hair was appropriate, as Jacare wiped the floor with him. There's a Stipe Miocic and Cleveland Browns joke in here somewhere, but like Cleveland, it failed before it had begun. Gunnar Nelson likes to get the feel, as he said, by not wrapping his hands. Now he has to register as a sex offender, and I'm still waiting on that child support. I really wish the USADA were like more on top of it. Then Frank Mir could appear on TV and then run backstage when they're like, "You are the positive sample father," and then he would cry and not come back to the UFC because he promised he would quit. The UFC banned Verdum's happy face cutouts, which caused some drama at UFC 198. There was a similar shit fit when they subsequently had to deal with 45,000 sad faces after the main event. Matt Brown regrets nothing, except for getting to protect his neck while flicking off Brazilians, and maybe not having it checked against sucker punches. Ooh, and in other MMA news this past weekend, the judges' decisions at Bellator 155 were a bigger train wreck than Amy Schumer's movie of the same name, though Bellator is slightly funnier. BJ Penn just got busted for IV use, and I was surprised because, honestly, I really believed him that beer and hot dogs were all he needed to get fat. And I'm spent.
Well done, Matt. Well done.
Rattling the cage. All right, guys. That about wraps up this episode. You guys have anything else to add to our listeners out there?
Yeah, just remember this fight is Sunday night, not Saturday night, due to the Memorial Day 3-day weekend. So remember, tune in Sunday night
Matt?
for Almeida versus Garbrandt.
You got anything?
Don't get omoplatin from the spider guard because it's embarrassing.
It's good advice.
Good life advice from Matt. Guys, what do you think? Garbrandt? Almeida? Tell us in the comments below. If you want to say something or get on the show, tweet at me at FaceToFacts22. Come visit us on our website, broestbros.com. We are your BFF of the internet. Guys, it's our 40th episode. It's been fun.
It has been fun. A lot of fun.
All right. And until next time, we are the Broest Bros.
You knows. Nice.
I'm still being recorded, aren't I?
Yep.
Son of a bitch.